So for those of us out there, you know, Dr. Joe's show is big into collectible cigars, especially the jars, because that's what I like to buy. And, you know, here we show you that these fake cigar jars are hitting the market. Of course, Cohiba and Monte Cristo and things like that, those are always the first brands to be counterfeited because they're global brands and they're the highest selling brands, among the highest selling brands. But be careful because, you know, as soon as counterfeiter smells cash, they'll start making fake jars all over the place. And I think, especially now, where these jars, when they first came out, they were starting at a couple of $100, $400, and if you get a good deal, you can still, but, you know, they're getting more expensive, so, which means counterfeiters will be looking to copy them. Last thing before we go, my friend the Nutsack. A year and a half ago, we discovered a site on Dr. Joe's show called justfakes.com. And what this guy was doing was, over the internet, selling packages of 25, of course, no less, Cuban cigar brands from all different Cuban cigar brands. The bands for all different Cuban cigar brands. Not only was he selling the bands, but he was also selling the parchments that come in the box, fake Cuban government seals. He was claiming that they were the real, authentic Habanos thing, that he wasn't selling these as counterfeited products to make counterfeit cigars, but he had collected these bands and they were from real Cuban cigars, so they're memorabilia he's selling. Well, I got a couple of samples and I gotta tell you, they're not so great. In one way, I feel kind of relieved because anybody who knows a little something about what a band should look like will know right away, bogus, bad band. However, the bands are good enough to fool a lot of people with a little less knowledge than they should have before they start buying over the internet. So we're going to take a look at some of his bands, which are complete garbage, and we're also going to look at his site because he swore on his site, and it still says it on his site. Well, we'll look if it still says it, but last time I checked, it did a few months ago, that everything he has there is all he has, and as soon as it's sold, he's not going to be available anymore. Well, that was a year and a half ago, and since then, not only is he not gone, but I think he's actually upgraded his inventory. We'll take a look right now. Okay, we are getting there. So, here is the website, justfakes.com. About a year and a half or so after we first put up a video about this site. And like I just said, back then the disclaimer said the exact same thing that it says here. We are almost sold out of all items. Once these are gone, that's it. We will not restock. Okay. So then he has, to make everything, I love this guy, you know. So he goes, number in brackets after description indicates stock level. So you know, stock level. And one package is of 25 pieces, and he has 50. So he has 50 packages of 25 pieces. He has 13 packages of 25 pieces. He has a lot of bands. Email us a list of what you want. We accept blah, blah, blah. We will confirm blah, blah, blah. These are all genuine products made for cigars. We do not make or reproduce any products. We do not sell tobacco. Don't even ask. Like that's, what is that, like a deterrent from what's really going on here? We do not sell tobacco. And these are all genuine products made for cigars. Well, bands are made for cigars. And they're genuine as far as the fact that they're made of paper, I guess. But if they're genuine, why the hell would you call your site justfakes.com? Like, what the fuck is that? Why not call it Just Bands? How about that? Justbands.com or cigarbands.com or justcigarbands.com. No, he chose to call it Just Fakes. Okay? So, we know what's going on here. These are sold as pieces of art and collectibles. Paper products from Cuba are legal, as if they're from fucking Cuba. Read the Helms-Burton Act before you start yelling at me. Well, you know what? If people have yelled at you about that, I'm so surprised that nobody's yelled at you about what we're talking about here. These aren't from Cuba. These are the fucking furthest thing from anything from Cuba. You know, this is like saying, you know, I don't know, fucking spaghetti and meatballs is from Cuba. These are not from Cuba, okay? Trust me. So we look around at them. Now, funny thing is that most of these bands are in the old style. That's fortunate for us, except a lot of them are still being used in production. And when you look at them, the quality on a lot of them is really not that great. Except even that's an old style El Rey del Mundo band. I've seen old style El Mundo bands on real cigars that actually look worse than that, believe it or not. Old style Hoyo right here, old style Upman brown band, old style Upman gold band, new style Upman. Now this one looks scary good. This one I was looking at and I was like, oh man, really nice work on the leaves there, the wording, everything. One problem is that you see how these little lines go dash, 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 dash down the side here? Well, they're supposed to do the same thing all around the edge, and it's just a solid line all the way around the edge. So that's not right. Cuban box seal. The guy's got 44 Cuban box seals. That's just wonderful. What did we just say about serial numbers in the Cuban box seals? Oh my God. You can't see this? I got it. Is that a D or? I want to see something. Let's use the magnifier. I don't know, man. That looks like a CH or something, and we know there's no Cuban band C. But I can't really tell because he won't let us blow it up. But anyway, he's got 44 Cuban box seals. I guess at least he doesn't have the new ones. Not that we know of, unless we contact him. But he's got every company under the sun. La Flor de Cano, even Status Deluxe, things that people hardly use. The Campe Segundo, Monte Cristo bands, the regular Monte Cristo bands, Partagas bands, Punch bands, Cadorce, Quintero, he has Ramon Alones. I was looking at that. It's got a really, really badly done shield. Anyway, we're kind of just hanging out now, me and you. You could tell I'm tired. Anyway, yeah, this guy is the definition of a nutsack. And, I'm looking at his bands online, and a lot of his bands look pretty good. But, I got a few samples. He sells, Habanos seals, Cohiba sheets, Habanos box sheets, even boxes for, even right down to some cigar ribbon. I mean, what a fucking scumbag, What a scumbag. And it amazes me. I wonder how much of this shit he's actually sold. I mean, who knows? Who the fuck knows? But now and this is what we're talking about. This is what counterfeiters do. They will get their stuff. Even if this guy, let's say this guy is just a complete moron and he named his site Just Fakes, even though he's selling legitimate Cuban bands. The problem is that he's selling packs of legitimate Cuban bands, even if they are. You understand? Because if I'm a counterfeiter, I come by and I say, oh, whoop-de-doo, $6 for a pack of 25 Ramon Alones bands. Oh, you know what I have? I have a bunch of empty boxes of those Ramon Alones, Coronas or Robustos, and you know what? I can use these, and I'll just wrap them around there, and bingo, bango, some poor fool gets punched in the balls once again. And, that just sucks for everybody. It really does. But I can't believe this guy's this statement and the fact that it's right under justfakes.com is such a load of ultimate web shit. It's like it's just unbelievable. Now available for sale, my collection of rare cigar collectibles. I'm not even going to look at that because I'll probably puke. All right, but you can go look at it if you want, justfakes.com, and feel free on everybody's behalf out there to give this guy a nice fat email, telling him what a great fucking guy he is. Unbelievable. The only thing I don't see him here with is Cohiba bands, which I don't know if he's too complicated or Cohiba, maybe General Cigar Cohiba called him up and threatened to sue him, because it seems that General Cigar Cohiba is constantly getting involved every time, even when they find a bunch of Cohiba counterfeits coming into the United States and they have all the Cuban bands and stuff on it. The guy from General Cigar is there saying, see, they're trying to counterfeit our cigars. It's such a joke. You gotta look at the magazine articles to know what I'm talking about. But Like, you could see in the background, there was this article about counterfeit Cohiban cigars in the United States. And in the background is a giant pile of boxes of Cuban cigar imitate, Siglo 6s, yellow black bands, Cuban Cohibas. And they interview the guy from General Cigar, like those are his fucking cigars, and how does he feel? And he's like, once again, we thwarted. He didn't even tell them, like, those aren't really my cigars, those are fucking Cuban cigars, we're Red Dot Cohiba. What an asshole. I gotta find that link too. He takes credit basically for thwarting counterfeiters. What a fucking dick. Unbelievable what's going on out there in this world. But there you have it. JustDicks.com. And that's what this site is. So before we go, I got a San Cristobal and Vegas Urbana band to show you compared to the real band from this place, and we'll see the quality of what this guy is selling and if it is in fact real or not. So he says it's real. Do you believe him? We're about to take a look.